Hello and welcome to Everyone Dies. This week's discussion is about how to talk about end-of-life plans with someone you love. In this episode, we talk about how to approach end-of-life conversations with warmth, timing, and intention. You'll learn how to break the ice gently, how to choose the right moment, how to clarify your intentions without sounding controlling, and how to navigate the emotional underlayers that inevitably come up. We'll also walk through the practical side, making documents easy, reducing family conflicts, and keeping the door open for ongoing conversations. These talks don't have to be perfect. They just have to be real. And when you stay in them, even a little at a time, you build trust, ease, and clarity for the future. So relax and settle in for our podcast about serious illness, dying, death, and bereavement. Because even though everyone dies, no one has to face it unprepared. I'm Marianne Matzo, a nurse practitioner, and I used my experience from working as a nurse for 47 years to help answer your questions about what happens at the end of life.
And I'm Charlie Navarrete, an actor in New York City, and here to offer an every-person viewpoint to our podcast. We're both here because we believe that the more you know, the better prepared you will be to make difficult decisions. And please note, this podcast does not provide medical nor legal advice. Please listen to the complete disclosure at the end of the recording.
In the first half, Charlie continues his series about advice from 90-year-olds on longevity and living well, and our recipe of the week. In the second half, we're going to talk about how to talk about end-of-life plans with someone you love. And in our third half, Charlie has a journal entry from Greg, an active poster in the Dementia Family Facebook group. So, Charles, Happy New Year!
Oh, is that now? Yes, it is. Gosh, it's crazy. What did you guys do for New Year's?
Oh, we did what we always do.
Go to sleep early?
Yeah.
Excellent. Very nice. Very nice. I wound up going downtown in the Wall Street area of Manhattan. There's this old Irish bar, and you can't see it from the street. It's all these high rises, apartment building things went up many years ago, and all that remains of what used to be there is this little Irish pub and a diner, but it's, inside of the complex, so you can't see it from the street. So it's great. It keeps out all the riffraff. Of course, I got in. And it was just great. Again, this is where I spent it New Year's Eve last year. It's 2 years ago now. Well, whatever. I mean, it's just, bunch of people there, no one crazy, nothing nuts, just sat down, watched TV, everybody talked, the jukebox was on, we all sang songs, and just toasted in the new year. It was just really simple, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really liked it.
Fun.
Yeah.
Is it like the old shillelagh in Detroit?
The old shillelagh. Yes, exactly.
Actually, when I went to Detroit,
mm-hmm.
in April, I met friends at the old shillelagh, and we had
really?
lunch. And and okay. I got a T-shirt.
Aw. Okay, very good. For our first half, Susan Fitzgerald profiled people in their 90s and published their tips for longevity and living well. I mean, I'm still a couple of years away from my 90s, but why wait till the last minute to make improvements to my health? We start this week with Anthony, age 92, whose defining characteristic is being hardworking. Anthony Sacco has been making submarine sandwiches nearly all his life. His parents opened a sandwich shop in Atlantic City in 1947, and he started working in the business when he was 16. In 1969, Sacco started his own sub shop in Ventnor, New Jersey, under the name Sacco Subs, and eventually expanded the business to other locations. On a busy Saturday or Sunday in the summer, he and his employees might make 1,200 sandwiches in one day. He retired about 10 years ago, but still does some accounting and computer work for the business, which used to keep him busy nonstop. I always said it was hard work, says Sacco. Not physically hard, but he had to deal with people. About 90% of them were nice, but once in a while you get somebody you can't satisfy. Sacco built his life on hard work. He grew up in Atlantic City, played sports, and was in the Navy during the Korean War, but didn't serve overseas. He and his wife, who died in 2007, were married for 50 years and had 5 children, one of whom is dealing with a serious medical condition. Sacco, who lives in Margate, New Jersey, remarried in 2009. He still drives and tries to attend Mass every Sunday, but he doesn't do much walking and stopped playing racquetball when he was 82. His once all-consuming work week now consists of an hour or 2 a day on the computer. Last June, a Sacco Subs shop in Ventnor, New Jersey, recently acquired by his grandson, was damaged in a fire, an upsetting but temporary setback that Sacco took in stride. If I can't do anything about something, then I just try to forget it, he says. As evidenced by the cheesesteaks he still makes at home, Sacco never adopted any particular dietary habit in the hope of living to old age. He had a stroke several years ago, but it did not result in physical or cognitive deficits. I never really thought about old age, and even now I don't, he says. I can't see myself dying, to be honest, although I know I will one of these days. Sacco has a friend who has trouble sleeping because he's worrying about death. I try to tell him, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, so don't worry about it. Marianne has decided that the best food to bring for a funeral lunch is dip. Any kind of dip. Really, when you think about it, what is better than dip? In honor of Anthony Sacco's sandwich shop, our recipe this week is for cheesesteak dip. All of the cheesy goodness, no messy discharge from your sandwich all over your shirt. You're welcome. Please go to our webpage for this week's recipe and additional resources for this program. This is the part where we ask you for your financial support. Your tax-deductible gift will go directly to supporting our nonprofit journalism so that we can remain accessible to everyone. You can donate at www.everyonedies.org. That's every, the number 1, dies.org, or at our site on Patreon under Everyone Dies. Marianne?
Thanks, Charlie. Our second half is contributed by Susan Peterson this week. Most people want some kind of peace about what happens when they die. But the conversations that make that peace possible, talking about end-of-life things, tend to get avoided. Maybe you freeze up, not wanting to upset someone you love. Or maybe they dodge the topic with a joke or a sudden need to clean the garage. Either way, the silence can leave a mess. These talks aren't just about legal clarity. They're about love, about making decisions easier later, about honoring the life that someone still has. You don't need to say it perfectly. You just need to stay in it. Avoidance is normal, but it leaves a mess. Start soft, stay present. These conversations aren't about death. They're about love. So first, you want to break the ice gently. If you open with, we need to talk about your will, you're going to hit a wall. So don't. Come in sideways. Bring up something in the news, a friend's story, or even your own experience sorting through paperwork. Let it feel casual at first. That makes room for vulnerability to show up later. What you're doing is creating a moment where the defenses don't have to kick in. Think of it like this. Sometimes how small openers build trust matters more than what's said. If you're warm and not trying to control the conversation, they're more likely to stay in it with you. Second, choose the right moment. These talks need more than just time. They need the right kind of time. If the TV's blaring or the dog's barking or someone's stressing over bills, that's not your window. Wait for calm. Look for slow Sunday mornings, unhurried walks, or car rides with no real destination. Those are the moments when people can think more clearly and feel less cornered. It's not just about catching them in a good mood. It's about catching them when they have the space to imagine something different without panic. When your time is right, the conversation doesn't feel like a threat. It feels like care. Next, clarify your intent without control. You're not here to boss anyone around. You're here to ask, listen, and understand. So say that. Try something like, I've been thinking about how to make things smoother down the road, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. That kind of language disarms people. It signals that you're not showing up with a list of demands. You're opening a door. If they feel like you're trying to make their values the focus, not just push your preferences, they'll probably lean in. What often gets missed is that people don't resist talking about death. They resist being told how to die. Fourth, address emotional underlayers. You'll feel it when it happens. Someone gets quiet. The air gets thick. Maybe they make a joke that doesn't land or suddenly change the subject. That's the moment where emotions have shown up. Don't move past it. Pause. Acknowledge it. Say, this is a lot, huh? Or we can stop if it's too much right now. You're not trying to get through a checklist. You're building trust in real time. Listening for physical or emotional cues tells the other person that they matter more than the topic. That's how you keep the relationship stronger than the discomfort. Fifth, make practical logistics feel human. Once the emotional layer's been honored, the details can start to flow. But even those need to feel easy. So much stress gets created because important documents, wills, advance directives, bank info, are scattered across formats and devices. You don't want that. Help your loved one keep these files simple and consistent. One of the easiest ways is to convert documents into PDFs so everything's in one accessible format, easy to open on any device. And we have a link for PDF converters so you can learn about this process. That little move avoids tech stress later, when emotions are already high and time is tight. 6, navigate the family dynamics. End-of-life talks rarely happen in a vacuum. There's always history in the room. Siblings who don't speak, someone who always takes charge, another who backs out of every hard moment. You can't fix all of that, but you can hold one guiding question. What is best for your loved one? Bring that up gently but clearly when tensions rise. It helps shift the focus from old patterns to shared care. This isn't about fairness or winning. It's about showing up in a way that your future self and theirs can live with. Lastly, keep the door open. Don't treat this like a one and done kind of talk. It's not. People forget. People panic. People change their minds. That's all normal. So instead of trying to get it all done at once, let the conversation stretch. Say, let's come back to this later. Or just think about it for now. We can talk again next month. Making it normal to revisit these things matters more than getting it perfect today. There's strength in normalizing repeated check-ins over time. It tells your loved one that you're in it with them, not just for the logistics, but for the long haul. You're not just trying to talk about death. You're building something. Trust, understanding, a sense of a shared direction. These conversations don't need to be polished. They need to be real. The goal isn't to wrap everything up in a neat little folder. It's to make space for honesty, care, and clarity before a crisis makes those things harder. Start messy. Come back to it. Stay approachable when it gets hard. If you do that, you won't just be planning for someone's death. You'll be helping them and yourself live with fewer regrets. Charlie, any thoughts?
Yeah, to your point, I don't know if just hanging out with people, and it's whenever I see an opening to discuss, dying, I just jump right in, and I'm trying to think of how there really is no formula. If there's a key word or something, I can usually then introduce, and of course, I always push for, advanced care directives and all that stuff. I find openings, and it's only been 2 or 3 times when somebody starts to freak out that I'm, even addressing that. But people, even if they're a little nervous or uncomfortable, in my experience, I mean, people want this information. They don't think about it. They put it off. Oh, I'm not, I'm too young, or I don't care. I don't have anything I have to worry about. I address those concerns. I mean, just, easily. I don't push anything. But yeah, that's it. I mean, either, you take care of it yourself, or somebody's going to do it for you, and you may not be happy with the choices they make.
Or you may end up suffering because of the choices that they make, if they try to keep you alive longer than what you really want.
Yeah, and you really, and I've said this lots of times before, you must advocate for yourself and make sure your proxy, if you can't speak for yourself, that your proxy is going to speak for you, and that person's going to be there for you. It might be difficult on the person, but just please, please, please make sure whoever you pick as your proxy will speak for you with what you want.
Right.
In our third half, longtime listeners are familiar with our sharing of Greg's blog posts from Facebook. Greg has been writing for years about his girlfriend from grade school, whom he married, had children, and in their later years cared for during her end of life with Alzheimer's disease. His girlfriend died on October 14, and with his permission is a recent blog post. Jane Ann's memorial service was heartwarming and cathartic, but also the official end of my girlfriend's journey. 7 years and 8 months from official diagnosis. So many friends and family attended. Even one of our dementia Facebook friends came. I had never met her face to face, like most of us, but she walked up and said, "I love your posts," and I felt I must come. She was representing all of you. I was so glad she came. I needed all of you there. Silence has filled the space that was once filled by companionship. After today's memorial service, family and friends went home, and I came back to an empty house. Too quiet. Silence. It is evening now, and I'm sitting out front of a Regal theater wondering if I should go in or go home. Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of my life. I am uncomfortable, but like the gander, I have no choice but to move on. Please stay tuned for the continuing saga of Everyone Dies, and thank you for listening. You can find more episodes from our series about grief on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Follow and subscribe to the show. Share it with someone who needs a little hope today. This is Charlie Navarrete. And from Justin Chang of The New Yorker, Loss hews to no temporal logic but its own.
And I'm Marianne Matzo, and we'll see you next week. Remember, every day is a gift.
This podcast does not provide medical advice. All discussion on this podcast, such as treatments, dosages, outcomes, charts, patient profiles, advice, messages, and any other discussion are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice or treatment. Always seek the advice of your primary care practitioner or other qualified health providers with any questions that you may have regarding your health. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard from this podcast. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or 911 immediately. Everyone Dies does not recommend or endorse any specific tests, practitioners, products, procedures, opinions, or other information that may be mentioned in this podcast. Reliance on any information provided in this podcast by persons appearing on this podcast at the invitation of Everyone Dies or by other members is solely at your own risk.